My dear friends, today we celebrate the 26th Sunday in Ordinary Time, you see. And recently, I came across a disturbing statistics on suicide in America released by the CDC and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Did you know that in 2023, there were over 49,000 suicide deaths in the US? And the 2024-25 data is not yet finalized. The teething question is, why do people kill themselves? America is rich, homely, and stable. I know every case is different, but it is most likely that people choose suicide when they lose purpose and the meaning of life. When this happens, it negatively impacts their mental health, leading them to symptoms of depression. And the inability to find purpose or value in life has nothing to do with race or color. The story that Jesus tells in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 16, about an eternal happiness indicates that the journey to happiness begins when people seek purpose in life and strive to self transcending values. In life, there is always the temptation to reduce life to the chase of money, power, pleasure, and fame. But Jesus' story reveals that lasting happiness starts when there is a mind shift from pleasure seeking to value centered life, which enables a meaningful and purposeful life. There is nothing in the parable of the rich man and Lazarus that indicates that the rich man was a dishonest person. Rather, he enjoyed life. He used to dine sumptuously every day. But it seems in his enjoyment, he could not see life beyond himself. Although Lazarus sat at his gate and wished that someone would notice him and help him, the rich man lived his life without any reference to Lazarus. To him, Lazarus was useless. I'm sure the rich man had more useful friends. Now, when both Lazarus and the rich man died, the rich man discovered something strange. He was in torment, whereas Lazarus was in glory with Abraham. This is where the story gets interesting. From his torments, the rich man asks for assistance from Lazarus. He noticed Lazarus, and Lazarus became useful for once. The twist of the story is when Abraham reminds him of his lifestyle on earth and describes the current situation as a reversal of fortune. Being awake to this reality, the rich man then asks that Lazarus be sent to warn his family. But this request is denied with the reminder that if they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither would they be convinced even if someone were to rise from the dead. Their sense of dignity lies in being needed by others. Whenever people feel not needed, they fall into despair with deep feeling of redundancy. The punchline of our story, though, is that the rich man has need for Lazarus now, even as Lazarus had need for him then. Self-absorption is the enemy of awareness. Every action begins with awareness. True faith is believing, seeing, and acting. In the first reading from the prophet Amos, the prophet offers a strong rebuke against the profound self-absorption due to opulence and complacency in Zion. He says, "Woe to the complacent in Zion. Their affluence and self-indulgence make them unable to notice the needs of the people around them. And just because they are comfortable, they are not worried over the ruin of Joseph." Their lack of empathy is because they are comfortable. Unfortunately, their riches is not incidental, but they have amassed these at the instance of the poor, whom they do not notice. This is the heart of Jesus' teaching today. My dear friends, what is the purpose of life? In what do we find life's meaning that transcends our bad days? Of course, Isn't a single universal purpose of life. Instead, purpose is unique to each individual and is often found by aligning one's faith, values, and passion with something larger than oneself. In other words, we find meaning by going beyond ourselves. When you feel that your life matters and that you are contributing something valuable to the world through acts of service, it brings deep sense of purpose. In the contrary, when life's purpose is reduced to enjoyment and the feeling of complacency due to wealth, it leads to a state of addiction and misery at last when your body is retired. My dear friends, although the story of the rich man and Lazarus highlights a reversal of fortune, it also signals that wealth does not guarantee eternal comfort. Rather, it is right relationship with people, the use of one's resources and influence to bring comfort and justice to those in need that is the path of eternal happiness. Now, who is this unnamed rich man in the parable? He is those uncaring people who focus only on pleasure, fame, enjoyment, and only relate with useful people, but ignore everyone else who is useless to them. Who is Lazarus, on the other hand? Where does he live? Lazarus can be anybody in every city. And the unique character of Lazarus is that he is in need. Life has maltreated him. Lazarus is that woman with no access to health care. That single parent whose toxic marriage has resulted in a divorce that leaves her or broken, struggling, and friendless. Lazarus is that colleague who lost his job. It is that older man or woman who has been in a nursing home for 10 years, whom no one visits. My dear friends, perhaps we have inadvertently ignored people who were different from us and are not deemed useful to us, but they are not worthless. Jesus invites us in the parable to notice these people and let our ability to share with them make a difference. When people die out of neglect, when we could have done something through our care or love, our prayers, thoughts, and flowers will be too late and meaningless. True faith is expressed through compassion and sharing of God's love. Therefore, let us understand our priorities and let us prioritize loving God and helping others right now rather than living in extravagant luxury that causes blindness to us. Let us recognize that we all need people as much as they need us. Nobody is worthless. You never know when your life will end, so don't put it off. May God bless you.